Alright, so I've had a lot of events throughout my lifetime that not just led me to believe, but to realize and know, the hand of God that was, touching my life, factually. Not like I said, it's not just, when I said that you walk by faith, I mean, that's for someone who doesn't know. You walk by faith, but once you walk by faith, you gain the knowledge. So people say, like, do you believe in God? Like, I don't believe in God. No, I don't believe in God. I know God. Like, that's like saying, do you believe in your mother? You know your mother. You know your whatever, whoever. You like, somebody like It's like, do you believe in him? Like, no, I don't believe in him. I know him. So like, I know God. I know these people, but like I said, there's. Well, I didn't really lose train of thought because, like I said, I was just gonna give y'all 2 stories on the last post, but I ended up giving you 3, and there was a 4th one. Shortly after my mother passed. I had aunts and uncles and stuff. Like I probably could have went to, but I was my own man even at a young age. I was living out of my car, kind of driving around. I had a girlfriend, had a bunch of friends, all that stuff. So I lose my main girl. Mother passed from cancer, fairly early age. Like I said, she's like 48 years old. So I'm driving around one night, like I'm out of cash, I'm out of money, and I'm like, basically God gave me a sign. I did this shortly after my mother passed. I went by the beach on the rocks, and I was looking at the stars, and I was so grief-stricken. At 20 years old, because like I said, my mother got the cancer, and it was like knocked her off really quick. It was like less than 2 months. So, I know a lot of people have, lost, someone overnight. But it's like even worse because now it's like torture. Because it's like, it can happen any day, but you still have hope. And so it's like basically you're being tortured. Get you in a torture chamber. So after she passed, I just was, calling out to God. And I'm saying, basically show me a sign then. And like I just got these chills and like this comforter, I said that the comforter, the Holy Ghost, just came on me and was like, gave me this really serene feeling. But when you're experiencing life and things, people, you'll start second guessing yourself. You'll say it's just coincidence. Oh, you had a couple beers, or wherever the situation is, and then like self-doubt comes in, things like that. I got my baby Layla with me right now. That's my girl. She's a Basenji. Well, she's not fully blooded Basenji because she can bark. Basenjis don't bark, they yodel. Yodelay. So anyhow, shortly after that, I was at a point where, like, me and my friends used to like drink cheap beer. We drank like Miller High Life, the champagne beers, and Natty Ices. This is before Natty Ice really became Natty Ice. Well, I guess they were always Natty Ice. Right off the rep. So anyway, I was like, oh man, it was a rough night. I had no money for food. I had no money for drink. It's like whatever. Who knows? And I was like, God, give me a sign. Just give me a sign, dude. And I pull up to this gas station. My gas tank's on empty. I'm about to have to park it and, go on foot patrol. And as soon as I get to the gas station, there's a $50 bill laying right there. So I said, thank you, praise God right there. And, I go, and first thing I do, put some, it's $50. Put $10 in the tank. Back then, gas was only 99 cents a gallon. I was driving a little Ford Tempo. So, like, $10 basically filled my tank. And I could go Miami and back on that from West Palm. Hey, went up. What's up, puppies? And bought, like I said, they were 50 cents for the beers back then for the 16 ounces. 6-pack was $3. You might even get might be like $2.79 or something like that. So anyway, so we could get our buzz on and whatever. But I went and got some beers, met with my friend, and he was a little bit older than me, and a real cool dude, and cool Keith. And I told him about the whole chain of events that took place, and I said, God came down, and he goes, are you sure it was God? He said, it might have been the devil, dude. So, that's, again, something to think about. Because I want to touch on the last topics. X had issues with, some of the videos I was posting and some of the word usage. And a lot of people do too. Because like I said, a lot of people equate Satan with Lucifer. But a lot of people equate Lucifer with Jesus being the Christ. Again, all the way from, the Elohim, which we know to be plural. It's like, a duality or a triplicate or even a quaternity, according to Shakespeare. And a guy who's recently brought a lot of this information to light, and I'll post his video. Definitive Man, he's got a lot of other videos, but his name's Alexander Womman, and he's on, he's Oxfordian, Shakespearean. So, again, we've lived multiple lifestyles since the past, but ever since, there's always been an enlightened one. Like I said, I told you about a book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces. Like I said, it's always the same story again. Man, woman, child comes into the world. The world's against them. Rotten brothers, sisters, whoever, parents, employers. Just whatever the case is. And again, they overcome and overthrow, and that's always So they attack the serpent with knowledge and then try to make it bad. And like I said, a lot of people have trouble with this because they've been taught and they've been told what to believe for so long by people who actually don't even understand it themselves. They've been told what to believe. They've actually never done the research or the thinking or had the spiritual connection to really delve into these things and break them down to an understandable level. And as soon as somebody's not ready to talk or debate, that shows they're closed-mindedness, because they don't really understand or know. Because they always say there's 3 things that you shouldn't talk about. Religion, politics, and your salary. I have a major problem with that, because those are the 3 things that should be talked about. First off, I'm gonna go backwards on that. Salary. They don't want you to talk about your salary, because guess what? They don't want the next person knowing what you make. You want to know why? Because some people are getting suckered. Say I'm getting paid $1 billion to do my job. I'm getting paid $1 million. The employer, rip-off artist, slave master, wants to keep their foot on whoever's neck. You demand more, they'll give more. Especially if you're worth it, but everyone's worth it. But so it's all they don't want you commingling, right? And then politics. You shouldn't talk about politics. Why not? Because you'll end up exposing them. Because you can expose people. Like I said, truth always going to come out no matter what. And a religion, because they don't want you to figure anything out. They don't want you to work together. And this is, like I said, all just healthy debate. I mean, that's what science is, you know, if you want to add ad hominem effect, insults, that's cool. I'm not even against that, you know, because if someone believes something, like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. I'm sorry, like, but I'll listen to it, you know, because I've been surprised by many people who other people thought were idiots. I didn't think they were idiots. Like, I don't think people are idiots, but, you know, your fucking idea might be stupid as fuck. Because really, number one, you're just regurgitating information. You ain't saying nothing new. You ain't saying nothing with your own mind. That makes any damn sense. Come on, Layla, babe. So again, and I want to address my previous video, you know, because I'm, like I said, I speak a lot big on Lucifer, and, you know, people automatically think Satan is Lucifer. Like I said, names all have meanings. You know, my name's Kyle Alexander. Kyle means the living God in Hebrew. Kyle El Kai, the gift of God. You know, that's and that's my first name. And Alexander, we all know who Alexander is. Alexander said he was basically the first god, versus Genghis Khan, Chinggis, who, you know, was the father, and he killed many. And he, you know, but Alexander was very well, not even. I mean, they like I said, they captured Asia. And Asia is the, you know, the oldest dynasty and, you know, ruler and powers of the world. So if, you know, people think like the United States and shit run shit, I mean, just look at the populations, look at how long these dynasties and places have been around. But Khan easily did with horses. They would just, you know, surround the city, because he said, you know, you built your fortresses, you built your cities. He says you built your own prisons. And so we just free roam. We're nomads. We're riding horses and shooting bows and arrows. And they would just surround the cities with big encampments and starve them out, and basically, you know, overthrow a whole province. They said, you know, we won't have to fire an arrow. They'll come out pleading for help. So, you know, Alexander was the same thing. You know, chased Darius and all them through the, you know, the second through the way, and, you know, spared them. Like, bro, I could take you out. Like, it ain't nothing. But, you know, that's what magnanimous means. It's like you can actually spare, but it was like, you know, Genghis said, you know, kill man, women, and child. So, I mean, if you have to, but that's where the Pied Piper comes in, because I'm a piper. I wear, you know, mixed match outfits. I wear, you know, you gotta do your background check. Run a deep check on me, boy. Google me, DuckDuckGo me. You feel me? Brave me. Anyhow, so throughout all the ages, there's, like, you know, the man of the hour, the genius, the man of God, God himself, that comes through, and, you know, right from Elohim to the serpent to Moses to Abraham to Isaiah to Isaac. I mean, you see how all these things are connected. There's always a spokesman, you know, Aaron and then, like I said, it might be double, multi-pronged, and there's multiple at a time. And like I said, it really doesn't matter what you believe, as we've seen, is, you know, mostly the people who don't believe get wiped out. They get wiped out. The whole thing, even when you get wiped out, you come back. Like this, it's not game over. I mean, it's game over, you know, right now. I mean, but it's never really game over, because you still get a second chance. You're going to regenerate, but you got to start right back over from scratch, you know, from scratch, And you're going to have to gain all this knowledge again. You're going to get that point, and if you get that point again, like I said, it's much like Stephen King's Dark Tower series. If you're familiar with that series, and you'll see, and Roland's just kept on doing the same thing over and over and over and over. This time he's got the jawbone. So now he's got an extra piece of information. So, the circle of life, right? The circle of life. So every time you come back, you have a new piece of information, a new piece of knowledge. Like I said, it's okay to change your mind, because now you have another piece of the puzzle that you didn't have. And this, like, we're all doing a universal puzzle. We all have our own little spot and place where we're doing pieces, but we have to exchange pieces, because sometimes other people have pieces for you, and you might have pieces for them. And it's all recognizing that we're all, regaining our knowledge of self, and who we are, and working together as conglomerates, as one big conglomerate, where, we're all together and no one gets left out. So, like I said, as the names keep on popping up throughout history, and it's not just males, it's females as well. It's everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. I don't care what you think of yourself. Because I think way beyond what you think about yourself. Because that's the way I think about myself. That's what I know. So if I know that about myself, I know that about you. So I need you and want you to be the very best and the dopest you can be in whatever you're doing, and not take no slack or take no heat. Just keep on doing you and elevating, and whatever it may be. Because, like I said, there's going to be people that they might try to steer you other way, but if it's really pressed on your heart, like I said, you might go through phases. Like you can change your mind, but like I said, you got to be a scientist, you got to be a mathematician, you got to be all these things. And they're all pieces of you, because it's different lives you've lived. It's different. You didn't just start doing this. We've been doing this collectively for eternity. And again, it's important to know the differences and the meanings of names. Like I said, Satan is usually described as basically the deceiver or something like that. But as you see in the book, a lot of the scholars will try to say, well, the book of Job is an allegory, because it's showing that Satan actually works directly for God, who I assume is supposed to be Yahweh, even though we know it's Elohim. And Yahweh is a man of war. However, he's like Thor. Satan works for him in that book. He asked Satan is like the tester. Like I said, I posted a video, like he's like the prosecutor. He's going to come and check about you to make sure you really living that life. You really about that. He's like the tester, but God sends him along the way. Just like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Slugsworth and Willy Wonka. Right there in the beginning, when you got the children going in, he's whispering in their ears. Basically, steal. He wants to have a lost and gobstopper. Whoever can get that to me, like I'll give him the kingdom. He's like Simon the Sorcerer, or whatever, right? And like I said, the whole thing was about the 7 deadly sins and the 7 virtues. You got innocent Charlie, poor family. He comes over to gluttony, he overcomes the vanity. He didn't have any of these things, but that's how all these kids fall. At the end, he gets tested by Willy Wonka, and basically he could have walked. Because he had the everlasting.